Love can make you happy. Love can make you sad. Love can make you angry. A story of love. Urgency.
Oh my God, half it is. Bye.
Thirst. And destruction.
Oh, I thought you were getting trouble. Okay. You want to play game? Super play that game.
All right, so you just saw the trailer for the hit stage production Love Made Me Do It, which will take place on Saturday, August the 22nd in Macon, Georgia at the historic Douglas Theater. So make sure you get your tickets at www.levelupprostudios.com. And so now we are ready to dive into what we've all been waiting for this entire day. And so I'm going to bring on our special guest, Mr. Kelly Cole. So y'all make sure y'all help me welcome him. Give me some likes, some hearts, and comments. And as he is coming on, y'all just give him the same energy y'all give everybody else. All right. All right, Mr. Kelly Cole, how are you?
I'm great, sir, man. Thank you so much for having me. You can hear me good?
No problem. It's such an honor and joy to have you. Everything is good, still quarantining and, allowing God to be God.
Sure.
Yes, sir. How's everything on your end?
Good, man. Busy as ever, man. I'm blessed. So I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me.
That's good. No problem. No problem. So we're going to actually dive in. We're going to act as if we're digging tonight. We're going to kind of
Okay.
go into levels. We're not going to just, throw it all at them all at one time. We're going to try to
Okay.
ease on everything on them. And so right now we got our shovel. We're ready to dig. And so
Yeah.
first I would like to know, as it pertains to this subject matter, what was your love at first sight experience? How did everything begin for you?
You talking about with my ex-wife? Here.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Okay,
Married.
wait. I just wanted to make sure. What you said?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Yeah. So how we met in the beginning, basically, was what you saying?
Yes.
Funny story, man. We finna get wild in here. I hope you know I'm transparent. I just say what it is. It's a wild, crazy story. We met basically. I was dating her friend. She was dating my friend, and we went on a church trip to Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she told me this story later. I walked on the bus, and she was sitting with my girlfriend, and she said, "Damn." And so basically, that's how it started on that trip. We started flirting with each other and ended up dating after that trip. So that's how it happened.
Gotcha. So started at the church. All right. That's a great that's a great start. Start at the church because not everybody start at the church. And so
Right.
all right, so that's cool. And so in your own words, what are your pros to marriage, in your own experience?
The pros, I mean, what I miss about being married is the stability that it provided me. Like actually coming home to someone and having a partner and just not coming home to an empty house. Like I travel a lot now and I come home to an empty house. And a lot of times, like I said, I don't feel stable. And a lot of times I have to fend for myself, which is
Right.
cool, but I miss the interaction of having, someone in the home, including the kids. So
Right.
after the divorce, it's just me here in this house, so
Right.
it's kind of lonely sometimes. But one of the pros is the stability that it can provide if you let it. And did you say some of the cons, or did you say pros? Just pros.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's a powerful word there, stability. 9 times out of 10, somebody, will say, I just miss being with somebody, or I miss going out on dates and stuff like that. But it's much more than that. It's what you can gain from it. And so I'm glad that you said stability because, a lot of people don't really know, what it takes to be stable in a marriage and, what
Yeah.
that looks like. And so that's really good. I'm learning. I'm taking notes over here.
It's all good.
I'm stable, so I'm taking notes. So, where I'm kind of going now is, nowadays people consider marriage to be both good and bad. And so, even in the good, do you believe it is necessary for a marriage or a relationship to have a wellness check?
Very much so. I wish, as the man, so I take full responsibility for my marriage not working. As a man, I wish I did more, what I'm saying, wellness checks. And vice versa. I wish she did some wellness checks with me as well. But I take responsibility for that not happening.
Right,
I wish we, like I said, checked on one another and made sure, how we could work on it together before it went away. And if I'm honest, it was doomed from the beginning because of the man I was going into the marriage. And that's why I say that I take full responsibility. Like I
right,
wasn't saved going in, so I didn't even know the requirements. I didn't even know my requirement was to water her with the word. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. And so yeah, so I think it's very important to do wellness checks. If whether you're in a relationship or like you said, you're going to that next step of getting married. But it's very important if you're in a relationship stage. And you just need to be honest with your partner, like about how they're feeling, what they have going on. And what you realize, for somebody who gets into a marriage, I wish I would have knew this then. A lot of times if a woman is going through something or feeling some type of way, a lot of times it don't have anything to do with you.
right.
And as men, we try to fix everything, and we see the little slightest change in her mood or her attitude. I found myself trying to fix stuff, which a lot of times caused bigger problems had I just sat and listened. So yeah, I think wellness checks are very important, and just getting to know
Absolutely.
your partner, like studying her and getting to know her, so you know her moods, maybe can anticipate her needs versus always trying to fix stuff.
Absolutely. I 100, not 100, 1000% agree, and I always use this, analogy, which I came with not too long ago is that, a wellness check is not always bad because it's just like a car,
Right.
nothing has to be wrong with the car, but you still have to take it for maintenance just to, keep the motor going, making sure that the car is running smoothly. And so it's the same way with a relationship or a marriage, just making sure that you're seeing, what headspace that other person is in and vice versa. And so, a
Yeah.
lot of people take it as a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. You know,
Not at all. Not at all. Like I said, I wish I would have did more of that. I wish I would have did more in the wellness check. Like I wish I did more sharing. As men, a lot of times we don't open up. We don't
right,
share our feelings. We're not honest with how we're doing or what we're dealing with. I wish I shared more of the things that I had on the inside that ultimately ended up causing a wedge between them.
right. So, you said something there that it hits every time because a lot of people bring it up, but we don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
You said that sometimes it is difficult for men to open up. Why do you think that is?
Because of what we're taught from a kid, you know what I'm saying? We taught, I remember growing up in the hood in Chicago, men didn't cry.
Right,
Men, we man up, shut up. You acting like a sissy. You acting
right,
like a girl. Like you're a punk if you had the feelings, if you had emotion. So a lot of times it's just what we've been taught and been embedded into us. And,
right,
a lot of times we're just afraid to, communicate because we don't want to be ridiculed. We don't want to be called a punk. We don't want to
right,
say something hurt. Like a lot of times when a man is angry, giving a woman a tip, I'm sure they always know this, but a lot of times when we're angry, it's not that we're angry, we just hurt.
right,
Versus just saying, hey, that hurt my feelings, we
right,
express anger
right,
because we haven't been taught to just communicate how we feel. So
right.
expressing how we feel, I think is very important. It's because of, like I say, we've been taught to suppress how we really feel and not use our words to communicate.
Absolutely, and it's not a weakness. You find strength in releasing what it is that you have built in, and sometimes that could cause even a bigger issue. Holding things in, and
For
so it's
sure.
all right. So to all men, it's all right to cry. It's all right to show your emotions
Definitely.
and everything. You just got to be just maneuver and learn how to channel certain things.
For sure.
Be
Yeah.
our biggest downfall sometimes. Learning how to channel it. You know,
Yeah,
so now we're getting to the target, the turning point here. So
for
we're going
sure.
to dig a little deeper here.
Let's go.
So from your own experience, how did you know? And we're talking about marriage, of course. How did you know things were taking a turn?
Um, I knew they was taking a turn from the beginning. Like, and like I said, I take responsibility. Like, can I be real with your people? Like, how real are we? Okay, so going into the marriage, so I messed up going in.
Mm,
So just to paint the picture and be honest with the people, like I literally say like I was getting married on a Saturday.
mhm.
I found out on the Wednesday before I was getting married that my ex girlfriend, right before my wife, I found out on that Wednesday she was pregnant. So going in, I knew it was a turning point. I knew it was, a mess. And I didn't even tell my wife. I just went in and got married. And then I didn't tell her till the week after. So going in and not taking responsibility and not being a man, I knew it was taking a turn for the left, taking a turn for the worst. And it wasn't until, like I said, I got saved until I start trying to repair. But by then, even then, my mistake looking back was not pulling her in, not pulling her close, but
Right,
doing a bunch of busy work, making it look like I was working on the marriage, which I wasn't.
right.
I was just doing a bunch of busy work and not wanting to face, what I had done to push her away. And that went on for years.
Gotcha. So, when that conversation did come up, did that open a door for a more solid foundation at that particular point, or were things kind of still, I guess, in question?
Yeah, things stayed in question the entire marriage because I never was completely honest with, once again, how I was feeling. You
Right,
know what I mean? And that's what I meant by pulling her close, like basically just sharing with her, hey, this is my heart. This is how I feel. And I
right.
never shared that. Suppressing that and not pulling her close and making her feel secure in the relationship and in the marriage is ultimately, like I said, we had a rocky foundation from the beginning. And as the man, like I said, I take responsibility for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in your own words, because a lot of people don't like this term,
Okay.
they rather think that it's something bad. Kind of somewhat in alignment with wellness check, but counseling. What impact do you believe counseling has on a relationship?
Man, if we would have went to counseling, I think it would have helped us tremendously. Because we would have had someone to be able to, kind of interpret what, each of us was
Right,
saying or like what we really meant. I didn't start going to counseling until um, maybe a month before I filed for the divorce, and I
wow,
went for singular counseling. I didn't go. We never went as a couple.
right,
But it was at that point where I realized, man, this is something that would have helped us had
right,
we been together before, things fell apart. But yeah, I think it's very important. Like you said, one of those things is a wellness check.
right,
Before I get married again, we're going to counseling, and it's something that we're going to continue to do throughout the marriage, even if nothing's wrong. Even if nothing's wrong, like you said, just a health and a wellness check to see, hey, where
right.
are
Right. All right. All right. So now we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to dig a
we? Yeah,
little deeper. So now we're getting to the separation stage, and a lot of
for
people,
sure.
in my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people do not know what the purpose of a separation is for. I've heard and seen people, say, "Well, oh, we separated, so I'm gonna do me, and they gonna do them, and this." And to me, that creates a bigger issue on
For
top of
sure.
the issue that's already at hand.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is the purpose of a separation basically is for, from a man standpoint, make sure I choose my words wisely. From a man standpoint, it's for her to, kind of do a self-evaluation to see what needs to be changed on her end, and then vice versa. So within a separation, which
Yeah.
is something I'm ready to ask you. Do you believe that boundaries are important or need to be established within a separation?
Yes, I agree to this extent. If both parties agree that the separation is so, like you said, for each party to evaluate where they are and how they can improve the marriage. I don't think it's important boundaries if you both feel like it is over, because one can't try and the other one not be trying, and it's over. Like, you have to be on the same page as far as the separation and the purpose of the separation. So if you're on one accord and you say, hey, we're going to separate to see if we can get ourselves together to come back together, yes, boundaries. But it's hard to have boundaries with a person that's all over the place anyway. So you might
Right.
as well just let them go.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're coming to the very bottom of the hole here. We're coming to the very bottom of the hole. So we're talking
Yeah,
about divorce now. We're at that
yeah,
part that nobody really talks about. Going to in depths. So how important is it to have a support system, not just even in divorce, but even in the separation?
yeah. It's very important because, like you said, you need some people. Even if you don't have, who I had was had my best friend Kai, and I had my therapist, and those two people were two people that I leaned on, and was able to share my
Right,
thoughts and feelings. So it's very important. So my ex-wife, she had, of course, her church family, and she had a lot more support than I did, but I think it's very important. And let's change that. If I could put that out there, give the man more support as well. Like, we needed support as well, but I didn't have as many people rallying
right.
and supporting me in the process as she did, which is cool. Which
Mhm.
goes back to how everyone is programmed. Everybody is programmed that the man is going to be all right, and if he's not, he
Right.
needs to man up, and that's not cool. So I had a lot of people said they felt like that I was good. Yeah, I was good, but it would have been cool if more people would have tried to support me or at least check up on me. But I was happy to know that a lot of people checked up on her, and I do want to say that me and her are the bestest friends now. Like, we're good. It wasn't a bad divorce. It wasn't evil. None of that. We're the best of friends. So it was
Gotcha, gotcha.
good.
So even in that, we do understand that separation and divorce, children can be affected.
Yeah.
Um, and so, how important it is to co-parent, and what effect does co-parenting have on the children?
Yeah, man, it's very important that if you can work together with your partner. My kids, it affected them in different ways. Like I said, once again, my son, who's a boy, um, thank God he has the outlet of music, so he was able to put his feelings, his emotions in the music. My baby girl, she actually shut down. She didn't know what to do with her feelings. She didn't know what to do with her emotions. She stopped talking. She didn't want to
Right,
eat anymore. She didn't want to come out of her room. So it was a more of a rough process for her. He had the
right,
outlet of music and doing shows, but it's very hard on the kid. My son even mentioned one time that he took pride in he was one of the only kids that both of his parents were still in the home. You know,
right,
which is one of the things. The kids is one of the things that kept us together so long. What I'm saying, we got married young, man. She was 19, I was 21, so we had no clue what we were doing. We were
wow,
babies ourselves, and our son was already 2 years old. And then here I was, had another one on the way, not even knowing
right.
what he was doing. So,
So I believe many people don't even I guess they're not careful enough to notice that that stuff like that affects the children, and that can
yeah,
sometimes be a great danger, and not just acknowledging it, but kind of discovering it, because that too can cause an issue on top of the issue. Because now here they are, they feel like they're torn, they're split between the two,
yeah,
and so they have to do like this. Gotta go over here, gotta go over
yeah,
there, and their mind is everywhere. And so I guess understanding where your child or children is in that particular
yeah.
situation is very, very important, and it brings clarity and understanding to everybody, and it allows everybody to handle that situation a different way prior to how it would have been handled, versus not knowing.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think it's very important. And communication is key. So one thing that I made sure I did was I communicated with my kids. Even if they didn't want to talk, I stayed consistent. And once
Right,
they saw consistent action and saw consistent support, not only for them, but for their mom, and realized like, hey, this is not going to be this terrible thing. We're always going to be family. my dad is a man, and this is
Right.
how he takes care of his business, and things begin to turn. So we all have a great relationship now. So everything is
That's
good.
awesome. That is
But it
awesome.
takes the man being the man and standing up and doing the right thing. So
Right.
that's
Taking the
what's really
initiative.
important. Yeah, taking
Right.
the
Right. That's not only the role of a man, but that's the role of a godly man right there.
Hey, there you go.
And
There you go. I knew you had a word. I knew you had a word for him, preacher.
there people don't realize there's a difference between a man and a godly man. A
Yeah,
man is going to do whatever it takes, however it takes him to do certain things,
yeah,
but a godly man is going to stand by the principles,
yeah,
biblical principles at that, and making sure that everything is functioning the
for
way that
sure.
it should. And so you, my sir, are a great representation of a godly man,
Yeah,
and I'm praying that people that are watching are literally listening and learning
for
from
sure.
not only your experience but your insight as well.
Yeah, yeah, man, for sure. Like I hear a lot of people. Well, I've heard the term of women saying they want a good man, and I always say, don't say you want a good man, say you want a godly man, because even
Right,
Jesus said, "There's none good but one."
right.
You want a
Good
godly.
sometimes looks good, but when you bite into
Yeah,
that apple,
yeah.
it's not always good.
So yeah, man.
Yes, sir. So what is your take on dating while the divorce is pending?
Man, bro, that's a tough one. I wish I didn't. I ended up dating while my divorce was pending, and looking back, I didn't realize how much of effect it had on the relationship. I didn't take enough time to heal or go through the process of, healing from the marriage. I thought because it was over and we had already filed and all of this stuff that I was good, and I wasn't. Looking back, I wish I would have took a period of time and not dated and been by myself and did my healing and did my work before I actually started dating. So I don't recommend it. And I say that because I messed up and did that, and
Gotcha.
it didn't
Right.
work out.
And sometimes that could, like I said, that too can cause a deeper issue within
For
because you don't know
sure.
how the other person's feeling, let alone the children. Because then, in a child's mind,
Exactly.
or especially middle school, high school. Oh, so he was doing this whole time. You never
Yeah,
know what theories could be created. And that could cause a
of
deeper issue.
course. And if you the man and you're dating somewhere, you already know how the woman feels. She mad. She
Right.
tight. It's gonna be problems.
She looking
Period.
for receipts and everything.
So yeah, she's gonna be checking it out. So,
Right.
but yeah, and the most important part, like you said, the children, like the children in that and how they feel about that is something that wish I would have considered as well. But yeah, so I say I don't recommend it. I say wait until everything is final and you go through your healing process.
Exactly, which leads to the next question because after it's all said and done, after all the fuss and fighting, not saying that it was pertaining to your situation, but
Yeah,
some people it ends nasty. And after y'all do what y'all do, at the end of the day, you still have to heal and move on.
for sure.
And so, what are the steps that you took to get to that healing process?
Yeah, I went to therapy, man. I went to therapy once a month, and in between sessions, I actually called or FaceTime or text. But just going to therapy, man, going to counseling monthly. I say be diligent in that. That's one of the things. And of course, if we, being a godly man, prayer, reading your word and getting, godly counsel as well. So I did both. The one thing I feel like I wish I would have did more. I wish I would have took more time just to myself and not like you said dated in the separation process or in the process of while the divorce was pending. So I wish I would have took more time and been by myself and did my healing.
Right. Awesome, awesome. So, unfortunately, we're coming to a close. I wish we could talk more. Maybe we can do a part two. I don't know yet.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll try to work something out. But I
for sure.
do want to thank you once again for your time and for your insight and everything that was said in this conversation. And I do know that somebody took something away to help either whether it's something pertaining to themselves or somebody that they know. But we do have a little bit of spare time, and so can you tell us more about your company and your books?
Yeah, for sure. So I own a company called Publishing Advantage Group. And what I do is I help people become best-selling authors in 90 days, whether they like writing or don't even know where to start. So if anybody would like some information, I created a free master class and you can check it out at bestsellerscircle.com. So, but yeah, that's my company.
Wow, I'll most definitely check you out. I'm working on some new things, and so it's always good to learn. Because not everybody knows everything. And
For
so I know
sure.
there's a lot of other people who are aspiring authors and want to get into that. So
Yeah.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And so where can people find you on social media?
And social media, all of my social media platforms are the same at Mr. Kelly Cole. So that's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of that at Mr. Kelly Cole. Just MrKellYCole. That's me.
Awesome. So y'all make sure y'all go support, support, support. He has some awesome things already established and coming up, I'm pretty sure.
For
Um,
sure.
so y'all hit him up on social media, especially if you are an aspiring author or just want to get into the gist of writing and see what that process is like. Listen, that's the go-to man. He's been
Yeah.
an entrepreneur since 6. Anybody that's been an entrepreneur that long and still in the game,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, that's who you need to learn from. you know.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, do you have any words of encouragement to anybody that may be on the verge of divorce or currently in that process?
That's on the verge. Um, if you haven't already, try counseling. Like try counseling and try the separation. And if we would have went to counseling, and like I said, if we really separated to, discover it's like, hey, like really look at this thing, I think we could have possibly worked it out. But by the time we got to the end of it, it was done. It was unrepairable. But I just say take your time. Don't rush it. It's not something that it has to be a rush job. Like you don't have to rush and get it done. So I would say
Right,
take your time. And if you're going through the process, like I said, make sure you're getting your personal counseling. You know, go to therapy. Work on yourself and make sure you're discovering who you are and discovering and if you're the man in this, take responsibility because it ultimately it's on you. Take
right,
responsibility. I don't care what she did. Had you made her feel secure, had you done what you're supposed to do, unless there was some infidelity, like not now if she
right,
cheated or something like that, that's different. But I'm talking about if it's minor things that could have been worked out,
right,
um, and allow things to cause a wedge between you. Like take responsibility as a man and pull that woman close and work that thing
right. All right. So the notes that I got from this entire
out.
broadcast is, making sure that you establish wellness checks.
Yeah.
Counseling and therapy is not bad. And to basically communicate, make
Mhm.
sure understanding is established.
Yeah.
And those are the three main ways to save your relationship or your marriage. And I
Yeah.
know that a lot of people, struggle with that communication part. Like I said, on both ends, sometimes it can be hard. But take it one step at a time. And like you said, mainly that's what we heard throughout the whole broadcast: counseling and therapy.
Take
There's
your time.
nothing wrong with it.
Nothing.
Nothing wrong with it. And sometimes, even outside of a relationship and therapy, even single people need counseling and therapy.
Oh, for sure.
you know.
Sure. For
So like
sure.
I said, nothing is wrong with it. And so I would like for everybody that's tuned in on tonight to kind of leave your comments as well as to what have you taken away from this broadcast. That way, we know that this broadcast has truly, truly helped you and it wasn't considered, just us running our mouths.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Um,
we hope we were a blessing, man. That's the reason I did this, man. Hopefully it'll help someone. But yeah, definitely, man. Get help. There's nothing wrong with it. Help you discover who you are and why you think the way you do, why you do the things that you do. So that's why I said I wish I would have went to therapy and went to counseling
yes, sir.
earlier on before I entered the marriage. And if you think about entering the marriage, make sure you know who you are before you enter the marriage. Because if you don't know your needs, how can you expect your partner to fulfill your needs or be what you need?
Come on now. You just
Come
said
on, somebody, doctor. I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to give me one.
listen. Listen, but that's true. Going into a marriage blindsided to who you
Yeah,
are, not them, but who
yeah,
you are, that's a
yeah.
whole danger in itself. And you're
Unrealistic
both trying to discover
expectation.
who
Yeah,
you
you,
are.
you have unrealistic expectation. How can she or he fulfill something you don't even know what you need? You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? So had I went to therapy, had I went to counseling and all of that before I got married and discovered who I was,
Right.
we've been a lot more successful in our marriage.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I do thank you yet once again for your time and your willingness to come on and
Yeah,
share. your wisdom and your experience. And like I said, I pray that this has blessed each and every viewer that comes across this broadcast. And so I pray that you have an awesome, awesome evening. Stay safe. You know, Rona's still out here.
Hey,
And just be blessed, man.
thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me, man. This is
No problem.
bro. And I'll come back anytime, bro.
Yes, sir. Hey, we already got it. We
All
already got
right.
it. All right, you have a good one.
All right, bro. Take care.
All right, so y'all have heard from none other than the Mr. Kelly Cole. Like I said earlier on, I do pray that everything that was said will be taken into consideration and that you will apply everything that was talked about within this conversation to your relationship and your marriage, whether you're going through it or whether you're on the verge, you kind of see it happening. There are ways still, even to this day, to prevent it. I do believe that you can save your marriage. I do believe that you can save your relationship. Listen, all it takes is counseling, wellness check, and communication. How hard can it be? Literally, how hard can it be? So I do thank you for tuning in on tonight, and I do thank you for sticking with me, your love and your support. As always, check out my website, www.levelupprostudios.com, and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, like, comment, and subscribe, and go ahead and tap that notification bell so that you are notified every time we drop something new. Trust me, new content is coming every week. You be blessed, be safe, and stay in God.